Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to dip in on this situation at Lucasfilm, the situation of the day.
Yes.
At Lucasfilm with Christina Arielle, who was announced as the High Republic host, the host on the High Republic show on Star Wars. And it turns out that some tweets she made earlier last year were unearthed that were not very flattering of white people, let's put it that way. And because of that, there were calls for her to get gone. And now Star Wars, the official Star Wars Twitter account, Lucasfilm, is doubling down on trying to protect her, and it's just blown up.
Right. Racism matters when it's what they want to promote. Meanwhile, just a few days ago, they got called out because they put up Martin Luther King Jr. tweets about inclusion, and everybody brought the fact that John Boyega, as fans have been pointing out for years, was shafted. They also mentioned that James Earl Jones didn't get his birthday listed and everything else. And then, so they were already in trouble for racism there. And now they're trying to deflect by, we are against racism, but they're against racism when it benefits them and it benefits the promotion of things like the High Republic.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that, and look, this video I don't think is gonna make anybody happy.
No, you're all gonna be pissed at us, I'm sure. In some
Everybody's gonna be pissed at us because our opinions on this are somewhere in between.
We're gonna try to take our feelings out of it as much as we can, and try to take a look at it as just like, you know, here's what's out there. Here's what you can glean from it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, we're going to try to be as objective as possible. So just keep that in mind as we go through this. We're trying to look at this from like a business perspective.
A news perspective.
Yeah, so before we get into it, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 172,000 subs.
Woohoo!
Thank you for the support. And we do talk about Star Wars. We talk about Disney a lot. We do have a lot of familiarity with Disney and the inner workings of Disney, which is why we cover stuff like this. And yeah, so let's talk about this. So I just put an article up on piratesandprincesses.net, which is Geeky's Disney blog.
Yes.
And she did proofread it for me.
I did.
To make sure I didn't go too far.
Yes.
We are trying to be balanced here.
Especially since that's a news, trying to keep it newsy.
Right. And look, this is news because this does kind of give you some, insight into the inner workings of Lucasfilm. And there have been rumors out there, of course, that there is a civil war at Lucasfilm.
It seems more likely than rumor, but that's just, my opinion.
I think it's more than likely. I think we have some people that are very political at Lucasfilm. And
there's no question about that.
Yeah.
People at Lucasfilm being very political, there's no question. It is evidence in their social media.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the unevenness of how Lucasfilm is handling these racial issues that come up again.
Well, you could have just said the unevenness of how Hollywood handles racial issues, and it applies to Star Wars as well.
Can we use it to our advantage today?
Yeah. We're going to ignore these issues when it works to our advantage. We're going to keep working with China and do all these things we shouldn't do and minimize Black people when we need to. But when it becomes the point that we need to use it to leverage something we want to do like the High Republic, now we care. Right.
Are we going to defend the right kind of person saying the right kinds of things? Because
right kind of things being the things they want them to say, not the right kind of things that's
Yeah. So let's for those of you who are not familiar with the situation. Okay, so Christina Arielle, who I'm actually not that familiar with.
I'm not either, to be fair.
But apparently she was on Critical Role, which is very popular on YouTube, obviously, and she was announced as the host of the High Republic show. They're going to do a show on, I guess, the Star Wars YouTube channel.
See, for me, the takeaway from this was they're so desperate to push the High Republic, they're doing a stupid show. They're doing a show. We already saw their cheap-ass animation, right? Because this cannot fail, which all goes back to that rumor that Pro was putting about, and other YouTubers have mentioned, that there's two camps fighting each other. One is the Favreau-Filoni camp that does The Mandalorian and brought Luke Skywalker back and the things the fans seem to like. And then there's the other camp that is this High Republic push that is all new, all in the past, all new characters that no one knows or feels any connection to, and they're trying to make that connection to people in a really odd way across multiple books and comics that most people aren't going to read.
Yeah, it's basically Kathleen Kennedy trying to as we understand it, take Star Wars in a totally different direction.
Her direction. Like more the sequel trilogy, but in a new era.
Yeah. And it's also a bit of a retcon because they're going back 400 years in the past from episode 1. And God knows what they're going to introduce that's going to change things going forward.
This is also a group, this is Lucasfilm story group. Yeah. The ones who had the X on Luke Skywalker's face, the ones who had the whiteboard with diversity over, story.
Yeah, pretty much.
And characterization. So you have that going on. There's obvious direction that they want to go. And they're not happy that they brought a redeeming moment for Luke Skywalker. Allegedly, Kathleen Kennedy especially is not happy and tried to stop that. So now they're stuck with this initiative that is books and comics, and that's not going to reach enough people. So now they're trying to do a show to explain the characters and hope that people care. But you're not going to care. No. So that's just, I'm sorry, but they're probably not going to care.
No. So they tried to bring in, they're bringing in Christina Arielle, and they probably brought her in because she does have a following, because she was on Critical Role.
But she has nothing to do with, like, the whole High Republic.
No.
Behind the scenes storyboard or, like, the whiteboard. She had nothing to do with any of that. Okay?
No, she is a host.
I want to clarify that.
But the problem was that some tweets of hers were unearthed. So here's what happened. They announced that she was going to be the host of the High Republic show. Okay, yay, that's cool, right? But soon after the announcement, conservative-leaning pop culture news site Bounding into Comics unearthed some angry tweets about white people that many fans found a little troubling.
Okay, guys, I'm going to tell you something as an internet mom and a mom in general. If you're going to say something and you're going to insult somebody, that some race or gender or sexual orientation, if you would switch that out for any other race, gender, and sexual orientation, if it would sound like shit, it's probably shit. And you shouldn't say it. It's as easy as that. I mean, I know people get frustrated and they get mad and they say things they don't mean and, things like that. But if it sounds really, if you're putting it out there and you're saying, if I would say, Asian people are this, or black people are this, or, all gay people are this, that would be really shitty, and I shouldn't do it. The same works in reverse. It's just try not to say shitty things, call it a day.
Now, disclaimer here. A lot of her friends came to defend her, obviously, on Twitter, said that in person, she's not that bad. A lot of these tweets were, they claim were cherry-picked out of context. Now, the thing is with Twitter, and we're going to talk about this because even in the situation with Gina Carano, things are going to be cherry-picked and taken out of context.
That's, that's obviously.
So your job, I guess, as a brand ambassador, regardless of where you're working or who you're working from, is to try to, you're allowed to express your opinion, but try to make sure that nothing you say is going to be completely taken out of context. And that's hard to do because Twitter is a minefield.
It is a minefield.
It really is.
So, and the thing is, but the other side of this is, if you are going to say that her friends are going to say that she's not like this in person, this is just, things taken out of context. The same would apply to Gina Carano, because her friends and people like Pedro Pascal have said that she actually isn't that bad, that she's, they're friends and everything else, that what is on Twitter isn't necessarily, how she is, off of Twitter. And I think it's the same thing. It's like you get your back up and you go into defense mode. I, as a redhead, run into this all the time. I'm not excusing anybody's comments. I'm just saying I can see why people would be on the defensive and on the attack, and that why they might be different when they're with their friends or different groups of people. I can see where that is, but if you're going to believe that one person's not like that normally, then the other person should have the same courtesy, because if they both have people going to bat for them that know them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just saying, either have to reject both or accept both. You can't just say one is one and one is not, because they both have people come to bat for them saying that is not the case.
Yeah, and I'm not going to pretend to know what Krystina's life has been like, what she's gone through.
What she's like in person. Same with Gina Carano.
I don't know. I don't know either one of them.
No, so we can't say that. I'm just saying, if you're going to accept their friends' opinions of them from one side, you have to accept it from both, or not accept it from either.
The point where we're going with this video ultimately is that Disney, my personal opinion, is Disney needs to step in and intervene when it comes to Lucasfilm. By extension, Marvel Comics, too, but especially with Lucasfilm, because your people are out there, whether it's intentional or not intentional, causing you a lot of unnecessary stress, headaches, and costing you fans.
Well, it seems
costing
like,
you dollars.
I'm going to say it seems like the Star Wars people, especially the ones that are on social media, have a political leaning,
Yes.
have a certain leaning, and they are using these things to try to push what they want to push. And the problem is politics has been very polarizing in the last few years. And if as a business, you probably just want to stay away from that as much as possible, just from a business standpoint. Now, back to what was said, because a lot of sites were covering this, like Inside the Magic, for example, and were deliberately not saying what was said. They're just like, she was attacked and it wasn't fair. But they didn't say what was said to see where the people were coming from.
Yeah, that happens a lot. And we're actually, we're dubbing it now. We're calling it the Tran maneuver, where things are taken out of context to basically paint a large portion of wrong-thinking fans a certain way because of, what is either harassment that's blown out of proportion or a misunderstanding of what actually went down. But basically, we're going to use and it is insulting. We're going to use this person as a shield now.
Yeah,
to
bullshit.
Shield against any criticism of our franchise. Because if you have any legit criticism, you say like The Last Jedi, and you're like, hey, The Last Jedi sucked because of what they did to Luke Skywalker. But Kelly Marie Tran
that is
was
what they
harassed.
always go to. Everybody are misogynistic, sexist, racist bigots because of Kelly Marie Tran on Twitter. That no matter what your argument was. Well, I didn't really like the way they filmed that scene. It's because Kelly Marie Tran was bullied off of Twitter. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's like that. So we are literally calling this the Tran maneuver.
The Tran maneuver. There, you heard it here first. I hate porgs. That means you hate Asian people.
Right. It's a Tran maneuver.
The Tran maneuver. So we're going to talk about that.
It didn't work that well for them last time.
No, it did not.
I don't think it's going to work well for them this time.
I'm not going to read everything she said, but you get the gist. White people effing stop it. You're racist. Just a reminder, white women are complicit. White supremacy.
And I mean, as a white woman, I would not say that about other people. But that's me.
Well, you get kicked off of Twitter.
Right, because how dare I? Because I would be told I was racist or sexist. And that's what I'm talking about. If you can put any other gender, sexual orientation, or race in something and it sounds shitty, then it's probably shitty. It's not that hard.
This one, though, this is great. White people can't have shit unless they consider themselves the hero. John Boyega was shafted in the Disney Star Wars.
And we've been saying it for years.
He should have been. He was the first person you saw in the damn trailer.
That would mean we're not racist. We can't have that argument. Anyway, I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to keep it even. I'm trying so hard to not let my personal feelings get into this too much. But I'm tired. This one, yes.
I had to put this one up too. The irony of this before one more person asks me, it's because white people seem to think that black people exist as a monolith and they only believe one thing. Just kind of like all white women, all white people. It's like,
I get that sometimes people say things because they're frustrated. Like she might have said these that, as a response to something that frustrated her. I get that. Same with Gina Carano. I think she was being harassed about not putting her pronouns in her bio. They keep saying she's against trans people. And what it comes down to was she didn't want to put her pronouns in her bio. Everybody loved her. She was a darling until that moment. And they actually said that she owed them that as a celebrity. And she's like, I don't really owe you that, nor do I understand why it's important. Because, to me, it's not important. And what she did was when they started trying to cancel her and attacking her, she didn't back down to apologize like all the other celebrities did.
No.
That's what she did. And plus, she very much leans right.
Yeah.
Republican. And on Twitter, there is no greater sin on earth than not being, far left enough. So, that's what she did wrong. But I will say sometimes, I'm going to say this, and people can get pissed at me, I don't care. I do think she baits, and she goes a little far. I get why she's doing it, because she's tired of them bullying her, and she's not going to take bullying. I get it, because I make the same mistake sometimes. I do it too. I think everybody does. But my point is, sometimes we let our own personal frustrations, we say things we would not maybe normally say. I'm not saying that Christina might not normally say this, nor am I saying that Gina Carano would not normally say what she says. I'm just saying I think it's easy on Twitter especially to become very polarized and very frustrated and say things. The only reason I'm going to give them both the benefit of the doubt is because they both have friends coming to their defense saying that they are not normally like this. Both Gina Carano and Christina Arielle have had friends come out and say, no, that's not how they're like normally. So if you're to believe they're friends, then it could be reactionary to the platform, because Twitter is fucking toxic. Sorry, Mom, but it is.
It is.
But I'm saying if you're going to believe one side that the friends are standing up for them saying that's not how they are, then it would not be that much of a stretch to believe the other side is the same. I just think people are just on Twitter and it just turns you into the worst version of yourself sometimes, I think.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think what happens is it's sort of like having a ESP without context, because a lot of times people just, because it's so easy, just fire off an angry tweet.
Right.
And people do it.
Some people do it on purpose just to get attention, too. I mean...
Yeah, and you get that dopamine hit because you get all the upvotes and the likes and the retweets, and it's like, oh, this is what they call confirmation bias. I must be right because look at the thousands of people that agree with me.
And the thing is, God, this is where I come to say this. Now, I'm saying this to anyone. I don't care what color, race, sexual orientation, gender, whatever you are. If you're going to say something and you insert anything else into it and it sounds shitty, it probably is shitty and you shouldn't say it. For your own benefit. I wouldn't recommend it.
I would say verbalize it. If you wouldn't say it in person to somebody's face, you probably shouldn't say it. Right.
And that's not to say you're allowed. You should let people walk all over you and bully you.
I'm not saying that.
I mean, it sounds like some of the responses she's given is a response to actual things that she was mad about. I'm not saying that because we see Gina Carano giving it back to people all the time that are bullying her as well. What I'm saying is you should stand up for yourself. I'm not saying you shouldn't. But what I'm saying is if you're going to allow one side to be and then say, well, that's just them defending themselves and that's out of context, then you can't be yelling and screaming about what the other side says because that might be them defending themselves and out of context. And if Christina Arielle is allowed to have whatever opinion she has on races, genders, political views, then Gina Carano is allowed to have the exact same courtesy and vice versa.
But that's not what happened.
No.
So we're gonna get there eventually. What happened was Star Wars came to the Twitter account came to Krystina's defense, and it became another rallying cry to get rid of.
Right, which was really rich, given the fact that they ignored James Earl Jones's birthday. They did what they did to John Boyega and the character of Finn, and they were called out by like everyone over it.
Yeah.
And about basically pointing out their racism and their biases and how they've pandered to China. And now they're going to talk about how, racism's terrible and we would not put up with it unless we're the ones doling it out.
That's true. So anyway, how this blew up, it was just an article that was out on Bounding in the Comics. It was actually out there yesterday. We saw it yesterday. Mm-hmm. And, didn't really think much of it. We're like, well,
it's Twitter.
It's Twitter. It's another day at Lucasfilm, right? Well, here comes Jack Posobiec. I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. Apparently, he's like a far right.
Don't even know who he is.
But he retweeted it. So because he retweeted it, it blew up. And then it created a hashtag, I stand with Krystina. And this is what Twitter said. Twitter said people are standing with the newly announced host of Star Wars, The High Republic, Christina Arielle, after Bounding in the Comics published an article and video taking issue with past tweets in which she repeatedly denounced racism.
That's not what she said.
I don't think fuck white people is really denouncing racism. It's
so if I go around and insert any other race and say fuck whatever race people, that is fine because that is just me denouncing racism, correct? Especially if they come after me and make some comments about me first. I'm allowed to say it back to them because that's just me denouncing their racism. This is how we end racism in the country because it's working so well.
Just tell everybody to go fuck themselves.
It was hilarious. Actually, when the Star Wars put their tweet up, which we're going to get to in a minute, I was one of the first ones to respond. And I'm like, I agree. But I think I don't accept racism from anyone. And a woman was jumping in there and she siding with what I was saying. And she was not a white woman. And she was, saying stuff. And then this one white dude starts going in there trying to be like, well, what did she say that was racist? And then the other lady said, well, she's kind of implying that all this. And he goes, well, she didn't say all, so it doesn't count that way. And I said, I am so glad to know that as long as I don't put the word all in front of a comment talking about someone's race or gender or sexual orientation or anything like that, that is completely allowed. And I was unaware of this. I was unaware that, as long as I don't use the word all, it's completely acceptable to generalize people like that. I will keep that in mind for the future. And I think the person blocked me. But, because they're just that much of a coward. Yeah, anyway.
That's Twitter. Again, you don't have conversations on Twitter.
There you be logical and reasonable and use my own logic against me.
So because of this, many were quick to defend Arielle, including her castmates.
And they're saying that she is not like that we don't think that she's, that she's racist. She might have said stuff, but,
Yeah. So we had Matt Mercer jump in there. We had Critical Bard jump in there. So a lot of people were jumping in to defend her, and we said, it's possible that Arielle's tweets were coming from a place of frustration.
It doesn't help that Twitter put down that it was because she was denouncing racism. That's not what those tweets were. I am sorry.
No.
From trying to be completely objective here, if you switch any other race or gender out in what she was saying, we'll say race because it's race. In this case, it's not denouncing racism.
No,
I mean, it might have been her intent, but that's not how it came out.
Just telling a large group of people to go fuck themselves repeatedly is not exactly denouncing racism.
Right.
Telling racism to go fuck itself, that would be denouncing racism.
That would be denouncing racism. If you are a person, no matter who you are, that behaves in a racist manner, fuck yourself, that would be denouncing racism.
Yes, racists, go fuck yourself. That's fine. All white people, go fuck yourself.
But she didn't say all, just white people.
Oh, but that implies. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. Now we're getting
but according to that guy, as long as she doesn't say the word all.
Oh, okay.
It's
I
completely,
didn't know that. So you can disparage if you had a problem with a person of a particular gender or sexual orientation. You could make a disparaging comment about that entire gender or sexual orientation or race.
As long as you don't use the word all.
As long as you don't use
according to that person, that makes it.
You could have a problem with one or two people that just happen to be a certain thing. And, okay, so that's for future reference.
Apparently, according to this one brain trust too.
Okay, we're not going to get kicked off of Twitter if we make a disparaging comment about it.
No, that's just us. That's just us denouncing it.
That's right.
That's like if somebody says all women are, something, like all women are sluts. They're just denouncing sexism.
And you're also slut shaming too.
Mm-hmm. I'm just saying that's I mean, Twitter really, and so people saw what Twitter said the issue was. They didn't look into it themselves. And they all jumped in. But it didn't go the way, it wasn't even about her. Mm-mm. We're going to get to that in a bit. But it became about something completely different. It had nothing to do with her at all.
The Tran maneuver. Mm-hmm. So it's possible her tweets were coming from a place of frustration, taken out of context. Again, I did not live her life. I do not know what she's going through. But many Star Wars fans...
I get frustration saying things you shouldn't say. I get that.
Yeah. Things you wish you wouldn't have tweeted.
Yeah, but you couldn't say, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. That never came up.
No.
I mean, that would be the correct response. Oh, okay. I was really upset. People were harassing me when I said those things, and I probably shouldn't have said them. Well, that would be the correct response.
No, because I can tell you what the thought process is, and I'm going to kind of joke about it, but I'm not actually joking. I don't need to apologize because all white people are racist, even the ones who don't think they're racist. So fuck you, white people.
That'd be like saying I don't have to apologize because I'll insert race or gender or this because I decided they were. Yeah, I guess.
Yes, that's exactly what the thought process is. Anyway, so some Star Wars fans, some of them black.
But by itself is racist. But anyway.
I know it is, but you're not allowed to say that. So some Star Wars fans were calling her out as a racist on social media. We had just some guy.
I saw other people that were as well. It wasn't just some guy. Just some guy.
Just some guy. So get this. We've actually been watching him for years. I was on a live stream
before we even started doing our videos ourselves.
Yeah, he's smart. Smart dude. He was actually called a white supremacist by Mark Wade, which is hilarious because I think he's a bisexual black man Democrat.
Well, wait, but here's a question. If going by the current standards in Hollywood and comics and stuff, how long is it till we replace Mark Wade with a black man?
I think he's
or a black woman.
He's probably already been canceled. He just doesn't know.
I'm just saying because he's a white redhead male.
Is he redhead?
Yeah, he's got reddish hair. Shouldn't he be? I think it's red, isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought it was.
I don't pay attention.
Shouldn't he be replaced by now? Because
Oh God, I think he
redheads are the worst for whatever reason.
He's been quietly replaced. Nobody's going to come out and say it though because they don't want to give those nasty Yahtzees any ground, so they'll just quietly just not hire him. That's how this works. We're not going to do anything that's going to make us look bad, but we're not hiring you because we know you're in trouble. Anyway, the more you hire and support people who spout racist drivel like Christina Arielle, the more Star Wars fans will slip through your fingers. Yes, this is going
That's exactly what's going to happen.
This whole situation, this is where we want to go with this. Whatever goodwill was given to the fandom with the Luke Skywalker and Mandalorian, this is going to toss another hand grenade.
That's what they're trying to do.
Yes.
Because this would further align with the idea that there are two factions in Lucasfilm fighting for control. You want to blow it all up and undo everything that's been done to try to take back the reins. Mm-hmm. So what better way to do that than to do this? Because otherwise, when there are so many people that are diverse in this world, there's diversity. The world is very diverse, full of all different races, genders, sexual orientations, religions, etc. And you have a wide open slate of people to choose from that you could have to host your shows or do whatever. And knowing how people usually look into their backgrounds first, why would you pick people that, seem to have a problem with other groups of people? You know what I mean? I just don't understand why you would do that. I mean,
stick it to the man, babies.
I mean, of course, if it was somebody that you had no way of knowing because they'd never said anything bad or shitty before, okay, that's different. But in this case, I just saying, it's just weird. It wasn't for a reason. It's a weird choice.
So anyway, that's a good point. The backlash led to the official Star Wars Twitter account posting about racism and inclusivity, saying that they stood behind her in an official capacity.
I love this. Our Star Wars community is one of hope and inclusivity. Our community is one of hope and inclusivity. Unless you didn't like The Last Jedi and then you were all man babies, incels, what else they call everybody? Racist, misogynist, etc., because you didn't agree with them. Okay?
Yeah.
We do not stand for bullying and racism, except for when they ignored James Earl Jones' birthday and did what they did to John Boyega and Finn, and John Boyega called them out for racism. We support Christina Arielle.
Yes. So and look, there were some people kind of calling it out. Hey, look, who's that?
Those were the first ones to say something.
Some non-white people calling it out, Anyway. So we're going to talk about James Earl Jones later and just saying, well, it's funny because they didn't really do anything. And there's... I had an inkling that there was some reason why possibly they overlooked James Earl Jones the day before Martin Luther King Jr.
On a milestone birth of 90.
90 years old. Being
the voice of the cornerstone of the Star Wars universe.
And by God, I think I found it. But we'll get there. We're getting there. So this is when things got really weird. Because... they put that post out there, and of course people were like, well...
Okay, so it's about racism, and it's about her specifically. But no.
That's about Gina Carano.
It all became about Gina Carano. This is why we're calling it the Holdo Maneuver. Or not the Holdo Maneuver, the Tran Maneuver. Because I think this was planned.
Yeah.
I think that they're trying to take and undo the racism, their accusations of racism against them by accusing everybody else of racism. Also using it to try another chance to try to get rid of Gina Carano, because if rumors were to be believed, certain groups at Lucasfilm are trying very hard to get rid of Gina Carano because she doesn't vote the way they would like, and doesn't wouldn't put her pronouns in her bio or whatever else. So
So just a small sampling of all this. Gina's still working on Star Wars. Why?
Meanwhile, Christina Arielle also does not have her pronouns in her bio.
I don't see any pronouns in her bio. No.
So...
Well,
She does have really awesome hair, though. I gotta tell you. I love her hair. It's so pretty. Anyway, go back. That has nothing to do with anything. I just think her hair is cool. Anyway.
No, she doesn't have pronouns in her bio. That's interesting. How about you do something with Gina Carano now? Fire Gina Carano. She represents exactly that. Because apparently...
Racism? Did she make racist tweets? I don't follow her, so I don't know. I only know her because of the show.
No, I don't think Gina Carano's ever said anything racist.
She's been kind of like questioning the mask thing, as far as I understand, and she wouldn't put her pronouns in her bio because she didn't think that she owed her platform to that, nor did she think it was necessary. But she was very nice about it at the time, I remember, until people kept bullying her, and then she gave it back to them.
Yeah.
If I'm remembering correctly when this all went down.
Yeah, the Mary Sue was actually giving her fist bumps for being a strong woman in Star Wars until they found out that she was a conservative. And
then she was literally the devil.
Then she was the devil.
But I'm just saying, they're going on about, if it all tracks back to her not with the bio and not putting her pronouns in her bio is what started this whole thing. Well, Christina Arielle doesn't have her pronouns in her bio either.
Yeah, that is true.
So if Gina Carano's against trans people because she doesn't put pronouns in her bio, anybody involved in Star Wars in any capacity who doesn't have pronouns in their bio are somehow against trans people?
Something's missing there, Christina.
Or against diversity.
Yeah, you literally have a transphobe employee because it makes you transphobic to not want to put your pronouns.
So how many people will they look later? How many people at Lucasfilm they're high profile have their pronouns in their bio?
That is a damn good question.
And if they haven't, how dare they? Because they owe it to the community to put their pronouns in their bio, and they haven't done it yet.
Somebody's going to have to go through all these Lucasfilm employees and make sure that
because if that's all it takes to make you against trans people. Look, I don't have my pronouns in my bio either. I have friends that are trans people. I'm not against them in any way, shape, or form.
No.
So I don't understand that.
You're lying.
I have friends that they're all different types of people, all different races, gender, sexual orientation, and we get along just fine. So anyway,
so Carano, is an outspoken conservative who's come under fire for what some believe to be controversial views. Again, the masking, the election, stuff like that, as well as her unwillingness to kowtow to the Twitter
so
outrage.
basically, people are pissed because she wouldn't put pronouns in her bio and she is a Republican.
Yes.
Now, I will say again, I do think that she says some things sometimes I think that's trying to bait and takes it a little far. She also says a lot of really positive things too. Put positive memes up and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, this is where it gets complicated because I'm like, I think you need to watch what you say to some degree. If you're looking to get all the fans, you're getting to get all the money. You want to represent the brand, right? But then you do have like Mark Hamill out there, who's very left wing and constantly tweeting.
He doesn't react to the bullies. He gets bullied all the time, both sides.
Both sides, yeah, he gets it from both sides.
I'm just saying, and I get it because trust me, I'm a hot-headed redhead, and it's really hard for me sometimes to walk away.
It is,
and I make things worse sometimes by saying things.
She does.
Speaking of someone who's in trouble now, but so I get being frustrated and being reactionary. I totally get it. I get wanting to put bullies in their place. I get wanting to be like, I'm not going to let you bully me and cancel me and chase me off, or bully me in general. I get that. I totally get it on both sides. But I'm just saying, I think that even so, you need to be careful how far you push it and what you say specifically.
Yeah, because, you can ask, Star Wars author Chuck Wendig.
Oh, we tell Republicans to lick the shit off his boots or whatever it was he said. Fired. Something like that.
Yeah. We're going to talk about, because that's kind of where we're going. Because, ironically enough, we did talk about how maybe Christina Arielle is different in real life than how she comes off on Twitter. Carano and Pedro Pascal get along okay in real life.
And other actors have said that she's fine and that they get along fine, because most people are not Twitter. I'm going to say that in general. Most people are not who they are on Twitter. Twitter brings out I won't say necessarily the worst in people, but you'd probably say things on there out of anger and frustration than you would not normally say. And a lot of times it's because you're being attacked or you feel like you have to protect or whatever reason.
Yeah.
But doing something shitty and saying something shitty, even if it's for the right reasons, unfortunately, it's still going to be looked at as what you said or did.
Yeah, and this has to, and this is where we're going with it. We got to talk about what Lucasfilm has to do, but
they have to stop it flat out. They need to put an end to all this shit.
All of it. That just you've got to have a blanket social media policy, because
they're going to have to pick a side and stick with it. And I wouldn't recommend Kathleen Kennedy's side. I'll tell you that much.
They just had a couple of weeks ago, which again kind of leads into this whole situation where Pablo Hidalgo,
part of the Lucasfilm story group,
again, part of the group bringing the High Republic, he was mocking a YouTuber and it blew up and it hit Variety, and the backlash was severe.
Guess which group runs the social media for Star Wars? If I were to guess,
I can,
because one group's out there trying to save the franchise and make good things, and another group's trying very hard to try to change everything for the sake of changing everything and inserting the whiteboard topics. And one side definitely seems to be the leading of the views on their social media.
When was the last time you heard about any personal drama with Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni?
You don't, because they're too busy not giving a shit about the bull BS on Twitter and actually making some people want to see. They're above that shit.
They're too busy actually working and making decent Star Wars. So just saying. So we're like James Earl Jones. We're like, why was he snubbed? He's a black actor. It's the day before Martin Luther.
He's a Disney legend.
Disney legend. He is an American icon. It was the day before Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which he actually spoke at many Martin Luther King Jr. Day events over the years. And I'm like, there's got to be something. He was in Roots. Mm-hmm. You're in Roots. You get a pass for just being in Roots, right? Why would they ignore this black actor the day before Martin Luther King Jr. Day? And I'm like, there's got to be something. And my default was like, I bet he's a conservative.
Well, I think Pro said something about that too on one of the articles. I'm not
he
sure.
might have. I didn't know. Here's the thing. I don't know James Earl Jones' politics. I've never looked into James Earl Jones' politics.
Because you can separate an actor's work and an actor from their politics. It is possible. Tell it to Twitter.
I mean, I don't agree with everything that Mark Hamill says, but I still have respect for Mark Hamill's work, and
I still love him as Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, I still love him as Luke Skywalker.
The character Luke Skywalker.
There are a lot of people out there whose opinions I don't necessarily agree with, but that doesn't take away my enjoyment of the work they've done, unless they're just
character they play, because that's acting.
Unless they're just batshit crazy. Yeah, if they're just batshit crazy, then I'm like, okay, whatever. So I'm like, there's got to be something with James Earl Jones, and this is pure speculation on my part. But it is weird. And if we do have someone who is politically biased running the Star Wars Twitter account, because Star Wars UK tweeted about his birthday.
Right. Star Wars UK covered it.
But not the American one. And they covered Kelly Marie Tran, but they did not cover James Earl Jones.
And even though it's been brought to their attention repeatedly, they have not corrected it. They refused to correct it.
They could have, even on Martin Luther King Day, they could have said, because they put a big flowery post up about it, they could have said, hey, and let's give a shout out to our black actors in Star Wars.
And they could have, and of course it went exactly as you thought it would. Immediately when people mentioned that, it became the Tran maneuver, where it was you were just bashing Kelly Marie Tran because you wanted James Earl Jones noticed on his birthday as well. When most people said, happy birthday to her, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm just surprised you weren't mentioning James Earl Jones. Most people were very nice about it and had nothing to do with being negative about Tran at all.
Yeah, this is
the
not
Tran maneuver.
This is not a zero-sum game.
And I'm sure she doesn't like being used this way. If I were her, I wouldn't like being used that way at all.
Well, that's the thing. And Christina Arielle, I mean, for all the grandstanding they're doing now, too, they're going to use her.
And if that's what she believes, that they're using her beliefs and her position as a shield for themselves as well. And that's not okay.
So yeah, knowing the politics of the people at Lucasfilm now, knowing there's probably some intern with a tie to the story group, the snubbing of James Earl Jones looks less like an oversight and more like an intentional.
You knew it was not an oversight in the fact that people kept pointing it out as a potential oversight. They refused to acknowledge it. They refused to correct it. Yes. And then they tried to use Dr. King comments about how they're against racism the very next day.
But they did this to James Earl Jones, and they did this to John Boyega. So this is what we're talking about being uneven. So Jones is reportedly a registered Republican. I found this multiple places. Mm-hmm. And here's what he had to say about his own grandmother's bias. He said his grandmother was racist against white people.
Your step-grandfather was racist against white people because your family's Hispanic.
So, okay, funny story. Because, so my step-family, my stepdad's family is Hispanic. And his grandfather was, straight out of Mexico. They came to the U.S. and they opened up, I believe, a franchise, Mexican restaurants. And he was very much retired when I knew him. But he did not seem very happy about my mother and me being in the picture.
He used to call you, what do you call it?
White boy.
White boy.
White boy. Yeah, as a white boy. Anyway, this is what James Earl Jones said about his mother being racist toward white people. He said, "I'd go to school with white kids and Indian kids. I knew they weren't the devils that she said they were. I had to start thinking for myself. And I had to start understanding the extent to which she was right too. But I can now live in the shoes of racists. When I hear about racists, I know exactly what they're feeling. I said, I'm going to allow myself to feel that just for the hell of it, so I know what they're going through. Sometimes people have bad experiences with a particular kind of person that forms their opinion.
And then they just end up like making everyone, was it a monolith where everybody, they believe everybody had the exact same thoughts or opinions, and you paint everyone with the same brush. And that's not always the case. And what gets me is, are there racist people out there that are just absolute assholes? Yes. Are there sexist people out there? They're just absolute assholes. Yes. Are there isophobes out there that are real isophobes that are genuine assholes? Yes. But is that the majority of people representing any group of people? No, it's not. They are extremists and very minor percentage of most groups of people. I think most groups of people have more common than they don't. I'm so tired of everybody leveraging these, boogeymen, isophobes, for whatever that is to you personally, who you are. And they're leveraging that constantly as a reason to hate entire groups of people. And I think it's wrong. And I think it's bullshit. And I never have thought all black people were the same and thought the same. I never thought all Asian people were the same and thought the same. I never thought all white people were the same and thought the same. You know, all men and women aren't the same and think the same. You know, that's unfortunate way of looking at things.
It was living in California. I went to high school, and I remember several conversations. My group of friends, which actually my diverse group of friends.
You were the minority.
I was a minority in the group, but I had two friends in particular. One was Japanese, one was Korean, and they used to get in fights all the time. Because all the time they would compare, you know. But
they were joking, you said.
Yeah, they were kind of. But I mean, again, it was like, you know, you realize like, oh my God, all Asians aren't the same. They actually have.
Well, you wouldn't have thought that. I mean, I never thought that anyway. But I'm just saying.
But that's like people are just like blanket like Asian. It's like, guess what? Koreans are different from Japanese, or different from Chinese, or
people,
different from Filipinos.
People are like, oh, well, because black people come from Africa. You know, there's a lot of white people in Africa too, right? You know, it's just a lot of other cultures in Africa too. It's just this whole idea and these stereotypes, and that, you know, it's in your best interest to try to expand what you think you know and learn about other people. And unfortunately, if you call bad behavior out from certain people, you're the bad person, and people should be held accountable for shitty things they do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sometimes there's a reason. Sometimes it's in defense of something, or, you know, you shouldn't have said it, but you were mad. Or, I mean, I get that. I totally get that. But you can't keep saying one person's wrong for doing this, but this other person's right for doing the exact same thing. Either they're both wrong or they're both right. You can't keep separating like, well, you know, Christina Arielle is okay for saying this because of this, but Gina Carano is not, even though it's basically the same, the other side of the coin. You can't. Either they're both okay to say or they're both wrong to say. You can't just keep playing this one-sided bullshit. Yeah. I don't care which side you're on. I'm talking to both sides here. Most of us are in the middle thinking you're all crazy anyway, but that's not the point.
This is, I just can't, I mean, this is like beyond the stupid decisions being made at Lucasfilm. Just the fact that Lucasfilm is letting their people.
They're letting it, and they're using it. They're trying to leverage it.
Yes.
They're being racist, and they're trying to leverage a stance against racism after they've been called out for being racist.
So we brought up the Tran maneuver, which again, unfortunately, I think Kelly Marie Tran, who seems like a wonderful person.
Yeah, I feel bad that she's getting like.
She's being used. Mm-hmm. Being used
every
as
time
a
you
pawn.
any reason you didn't like the Disney sequel Star Wars, it is always mentioned. Because Kelly Marie Tran was bullied off of Twitter. Always, without fail. Even if it has nothing to do with what you're talking about at all. Doesn't matter.
Because the criticisms most people had. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't people saying shitty things or doing shitty things.
There always are. I don't care who. There's always some extremes.
You can have a YouTube channel that's just all puppies and kittens, and you're gonna get hate mail. I mean, it's just the way it is.
That's just the way it is.
But for the most part, the criticism about Rose Teego was that her character was annoying and basically worthless, and actually ironically enough, took away from Finn.
My criticism with Rose Teego. It has nothing to do with Kelly Marie Tran. The character they gave her was crap. Yeah. And basically the whole point of her and Holdo seems to be these characters were just brought in. Holdo to be a foil to Finn, or to Poe, and Teego to be a foil to Finn. They literally walked the male characters back to make and they were from heroes to being back to now they're problematic men, and these women needed to be there to teach them a lesson, to teach Rose Teego to teach Finn about love, and Holdo to teach Poe his place, and that's what their whole point was, and it was dumb, and they were unnecessary, and Holdo's dead by the end of Last Jedi.
She blows herself up,
and a maneuver that and if you're going to use that, you should have made it Leia.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have somebody go out, either Leia or Akbar. I mean, Akbar gets killed off screen, for God's sake.
So I'm like...
It was like a brand new character introduced to do something amazing that had no meaning because it wasn't a character that anybody cared about to begin with.
Right, it should have been an established character that's been there a while or whatever if you're going to have them do something like that. But that was what people were mad about. And there really wasn't a purpose to these characters. They just showed up and then it was all about them for no reason whatsoever. And that was the issue for a lot of people. And then they did what they did to Luke, which was a whole other issue that had nothing to do with Rose Teego.
But again, it's the Tran maneuver. When you say, I don't like The Last Jedi because of what they did to Luke Skywalker, I don't understand what the deal is with Holdo, John Boyega got shafted, they turned him into a goofy-ass sidekick. You just hate Asian women.
You're sexist and you're sexist and racist at the same time. And that's what they keep doing.
You're a misogynist.
Right.
Or a Russian bot.
Meanwhile, I was thinking, always likes to point out the two main characters that they keep focusing on was one's a fascist, a white fascist male, and one's a white female.
That is true.
Mm-hmm.
So just so you know, everybody got sidelined.
And a lot of people have brought up many, many, many times, the people that you keep calling racist and stuff, especially, that Finn was wasted. That John Boyega, we thought was going to be a major lead in the movies because they kind of insinuated that on the trailers. He had a very interesting story arc that could have been fantastically done. And they took him from being setting him up, even with a lightsaber fighting Kylo Ren on his own too at the end. They went from that to he's a deserter, and thank God Rose Tico's there to make sure he doesn't desert. And then whatever they did with him in Rise of Skywalker. So they completely wasted John Boyega as an actor. They completely wasted a strong character that wasn't white. They completely wasted, a really cool backstory. And for whatever reason, China. I would say whatever reason we don't know. But we know it's because of China. That's most likely what everybody is kind of agreeing on. And we saw it with the posters and stuff. And it's like, so that was a really shitty racist thing to do on Star Wars' part because they wanted more money. It was basically about where they thought they were going to get more money. And if they were so about money then, you'd think they'd be worried about money now, considering how the franchise is going down the toilet. You're letting the Civil War go on, which is flushing it down the toilet. And now you're dividing it further by letting the Star Wars official account go out there and put comments up, to try to cause more issues.
Late at night on a Friday night, so there's nobody to oversee this chaos.
Right.
It needed to be addressed differently, I think. So here's what's going to happen. And I joked on Twitter, I said it's a trap. I said, what's going to happen?
It is a trap, completely a trap.
Yeah, so what's going to happen with Christina Arielle is it's going to be the angry white boys attack the black host without any provocation.
They're already spinning it that way. They're not putting what she said out to show why people were upset.
Well, you said inside the magic.
Yes, they wouldn't have said about that. People were attacking her. I'm like,
why?
They didn't put why. They didn't put any of her tweets or anything. They put it in context of why people might have, even if it was a misunderstanding, why they might have thought that was the case. You're only giving part of the picture and then saying that it's all racism, but you're not showing everything. Could it have been misunderstanding? Yes. We don't know. I'm just saying, but the way that's being spun isn't done in such a way that it's not giving the fair picture here. It's automatically going to the Tran maneuver.
Yep. And well, speaking of which, I think it was also Inside the Magic that was posting about how poor Kelly Marie Tran was being harassed on Twitter without giving context.
The same chick keeps going, well, besides the fact she takes less than I do, but she keeps going on about, she keeps using Gina Carano all the time to try to leverage it for hits because it's one of their top search results.
But they also seem to want to get her fired, too.
Right.
Yeah,
it does seem that way. They'll try to think, well, there's pro her and against her, but they seem to do a lot of against her stuff.
There is a lot of against her stuff. But yeah, what they're going to do is they're going to say that Star Wars fans are shit and a good portion of them need to be denounced. They're already calling for it.
They're all man babies.
Lucasfilm needs to publicly denounce the fandom menace and take action to protect their employees.
Okay, a couple things here. One, I agree they should protect their employees, but if they're protecting one employee, why aren't they protecting Gina Carano? Also, because she's their employee as well. And two, who protects the fans from the employees?
Yeah, that's a damn good question. Who does protect the fans from the employees like Pablo Hidalgo, who is mocking a prominent Star Wars YouTuber? He might actually be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Star Wars YouTube channel.
It would behoove Star Wars to not mock this person.
Yeah, you might want to get this guy on your side. I'm just saying.
When there was things happened where there was the one movie he had, they wouldn't let him run it. Even after that, he still only said nice things about Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
And then they turn around and do this.
It struck him. And yeah, like he's been playing ball and it doesn't matter. I mean, that Pablo Hidalgo situation for me, because I used to follow Pablo Hidalgo. I used to like Pablo Hidalgo. Mm-hmm. I did. I'd follow some of the stuff he did. I saw different books he did, and he seemed like he knew what was going on as far as the nuts and bolts of Star Wars. And then the last couple of years, he's just gotten weirdly political. I
think that's what happens when you surround yourself by this all the time.
Poison.
And that just shows you where this group is. Working on the High Republic and Lucasfilm Story Group, where they are, that they're this day in and day out, you go from being reasonable until being everything's black and white, everything's polarized, everything is, this way because that's the right way. But when there's no nuance, that's what happens, and that's the issue.
And we've seen it in other parts of entertainment. We see it the comic book pros. Okay, so there's a lot of drama about what's going on in comics and stuff too. And there are people saying some really shitty things on Twitter that I'm like, I met you at a convention. I sat next to you. I tabled next to you. We had conversations. You weren't insane. What the hell happened?
Yeah.
But again, it's just the last couple of years, but the polarizing
well,
climate.
Back then you were allowed to talk about things that weren't politics, and most people
true.
did. But now everything has to be about politics, and whether you see through a blue lens or a red lens. Yeah. And there's no room for any other color lens.
We gotta roll this back a little bit, guys, because this is killing everybody.
Well, this is what happens when you're in an echo chamber all the time. It messes with your view of everything.
I also said that, and we talked about this before, that this is going to be used again. Christina Arielle is going to be used to prop up the High Republic, which doesn't seem to be now, regardless of what you've heard about sales.
We weren't getting much out of it. But now everybody's going to go, well, we need to support the High Republic because racists are trying to attack them. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, come on.
So there wasn't really much interest in the High Republic. There really wasn't until like the last couple of weeks, and it's picked up steam. Now it could be because the books and the comics came out, but for the most part, like nobody really cared.
And it's falling off a cliff, as you can see. It's on a downward trend. We have to stop that, guys.
Yeah.
Well, let's make what works the best? Controversy. Controversy always ramps it up for us.
Yeah, you can see. It's just it's been, even when they announced it, it was like, nobody cares. Now it's like, oh yeah, there's some interest because the books came out, and now it's back down again.
Oh yes, this is it's doing fantastic because it's at the top of the New York Times bestseller list. It was funny. Somebody actually said this to me last night when we were talking about what's going on. Someone said to me, well, because one person stepped in and said, you're wrong. Because I said about the High Republic, they're probably using it to prop it up. You're wrong. It's the book's number one on the New York Times bestseller list and sold out of Amazon. You're wrong. And somebody else asked me about it, and I said, it's really easy to cheat the New York Times bestseller list. It has been, we have a publishing background.
Yeah.
We've been around this for a long time. And it's so easy to cheat. It's ridiculous. And actually, it's not even a real metric of what's popular. It's a metric of what certain locations sold. And if you know those locations, you can go buy a whole bunch of your own damn book and put it in #1 spot.
Yeah, they used to joke about that, like the Nielsen's. My mom actually used to work for Nielsen's. They used to joke about Nielsen's houses and how they wanted to get, the houses that had the Nielsen's ratings box to, watch certain shows or whatever, because that would make the ratings look like they were higher. They weren't actually taking a sampling of everyone. They were just taking a sampling of the Nielsen households. And
that they had some control over.
Yeah, and that's the same with publishing. It's basically there are certain bookstores, certain outlets that count more toward the New York Times bestseller list, which is actually, at the end of the day, vetted by editorial staff. So you can actually outsell someone and still not be on the list because they didn't think you should be on the list.
Or you were the wrong kind of person or whatever.
It's a game. We actually did a video a couple of years ago talking about comics and graphic novels and how this worked. And, it is a promotional tool. The New York Times bestseller list is a promotional tool that can be gamed very easily. There are a lot of examples of this. It's not hard to find this information.
So I was talking about last night with somebody because they asked me about it, and I said this last night. I mean, just because you're on the New York Times bestseller list does not mean it's doing as fantastic as it is. Now, it also could be doing well because they're pushing the hell out of it. So, it could have been, they're counting things that they sent out for promotional, or there's different reasons that it could count.
Yeah, this is interesting. This is coming from the Observer like 4 years ago. What doesn't the New York Times love? If you happen to have written a conservative or political leaning book, you're more likely to be ranked lower and drop off the list faster than books with a more liberal political slant. That's probably not true. Me.
I know the one girl was called out because the one place the publisher for this girl went and bought the bunch of the books. Like a lot of people do this. They tell you this. Like if you were doing Kickstarters and things, or crowdfunding, they would say, or these people that got publishing deals or were self-publishing, they would say, put money aside and go buy your own books from certain locations. They tell you that. They tell you this?
Yeah, they did. You can actually hire a firm. That's actually a lot of book publishers view this as a marketing expense.
Yes.
They said you can find a book laundering firm. There's a handful of them out there.
And if you're Disney, you don't have to find a firm. I'm sure you have people that's their job to do this.
Yeah.
It's Disney.
And what happens with a lot of these books, especially graphic novels, you see, best-selling graphic novel, and then like a year later, they're dumped off at Ollie's.
Yeah.
For dirt cheap.
How hard is it to believe that Disney would do this? We've seen Disney do artificially inflate demand for things before. We've seen it like with the Captain Marvel. They kept saying everything was sold out. And then there was all these photos from people showing up. They're like, I don't understand. The theater's listed as sold out, but there's like nobody here, and stuff like that. How hard is it to believe that Disney wouldn't do these things that other people can do, anybody can do?
They have to make sure that the High Republic
especially
succeeds.
If there's a faction going on, there's a civil war, and they're trying to take control by showing this is successful. Yep. Wouldn't it be in their best interest to use every trick out there to try to give the appearance of success?
Yes.
Now, does that mean it's not successful? No, it could possibly be. I don't understand how, because hardly anybody's talking about it.
Yeah.
And their animation for it to promote it looks like shit. And then instead of, dealing with the issue at hand, they just talk about how they're against racism after behaving racistly for years. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I can tell you one thing, though. This whole thing comes down to trying to leverage the High Republic. That's what this whole thing is about at the end of the day.
Yeah, and everybody's going to get used. They're going to get played. You're all going to be played. You're all chess pieces. You're all pawns. And that includes Christina, Arielle. That includes Gina Carano. That includes the fans. Mm-hmm. You're all just being pushed around.
You're on a chessboard, and they're all using you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even like the cool Star Wars battle chess game they used to have for computer. It's not even like that. It's a shitty game. But yeah, we said we believe individuals should be allowed to say what they want. But as a company representative, you got to make the brand look good. And this is the difference between Lucasfilm and even Marvel Comics and Disney proper. Disney proper wouldn't put up with this shit.
We had to sign things before, and it was on there you are allowed to disparage or do things like this.
Just to bring this up, this is coming from Mitch Ibaka.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about this.
On Disney Star Wars is Dumb. Just to show you the difference in how Disney proper deals with people.
I think it also depends on the time, which we'll talk about that too.
Yeah, things change.
I mean, you have to look at it this way, and I think you'll notice this too. For years, everything was being pushed was women. The Force is female, women. And that has flip-flopped as of last year, that they're pushing a different demographic. So this probably would not have, well, no, it said non-males, but I'm saying that could be part of why.
Well, you can get sued for flat out saying I'm not going to hire somebody.
Right, discrimination laws.
Yeah. So this was, Ichibaka put this up yesterday or this morning. The former Disney employee almost fired for trying to hire non-white non-male.
Do not bother this person.
Don't bother.
We're just sharing this story. Don't bother anybody. I mean, he didn't do anything to you personally.
But he put this out there. Any non-white, non-male engineering managers looking for a great opportunity. DMs are open. The tweet has been deleted, but Justin Garrison explains the fallout. He said, "Goodbye. I never imagined I would be part of such an amazing place, being able to work on technology and help make cartoons for kids of all ages, etc., etc." He's leaving. Here's what happened, though. A big reason I left Disney is I was called racist by my manager and almost fired, suspended for 3 weeks because I tried to get non-white dudes to apply for openings.
Because wait, I thought it was not just non-white dudes. I thought it was women too.
Try to get non-white dudes. I thought you
said you're
non-dudes.
I thought
non-white non-dudes.
Okay, but here's the thing. There's an easy way to say that. Say we're an equal opportunity employer, and we encourage minorities or marginal groups to apply. Also, that's all they could have just said that.
So I have an old thread somewhere where basically I tweeted, now deleted, that I wanted to help non-white, non-dude people apply for a role to be my manager. To be my manager in the last job. Certain people on Twitter didn't take kindly of that, said the company was racist for not hiring white dudes. That's not what he was saying, though.
Again, go back to the original post, and I'm just going to, for argument's sake, input other things. Any non-Asian, non-female engineering majors looking for a great opportunity?
Yeah.
That's just it. That's the problem. You can't, you could have said, there's an opening here. Here are some of the benefits. And I would really be excited to see, I can't wait to see who all applies, and, and minorities and the marginalized groups, by all means, apply also. We're considering everyone. See the difference? You're still getting across that you want diversity, but you're not saying, hey, we non-white dudes apply.
Yeah, right. So people emailed HR, they suspended me for 3 weeks, had 2+ month investigation, threatened me with legal action for various reasons, asked me about tweets from years ago.
Because they're afraid they're going to get sued.
Again, he worked for Disney, though. And
this is about them getting sued. They hate bad press.
I was very active in trying to get diverse people in our pipelines and successfully hired one. Well, what you do...
I got one! Oh my God.
Oh my God, it's like Ghostbusters, Janine.
Oh,
Got one!
Well, he was just wrong. He should have given up his job for somebody else. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, there you go.
God.
HR wanted screenshots and chat logs. Well, because there are equal opportunity employment laws.
Right. They're going to get in trouble. That's why they did what they did.
I mean, I'm assuming he's in California. They're trying to walk that back. But at that time, that was discriminatory to say I will not hire somebody like this.
I would say the same thing. If you said we only wanted white men to apply, I would say the same thing, that's absolute garbage and bullshit, and people would complain, and they would probably get the same amount of trouble because that is considered equal opportunity employers. You have to have, there's laws against discrimination like that. You would have got your ass in trouble either way.
Yeah, they found out he didn't really technically do anything wrong, and they basically he just left. But
it sucks because he was just basically putting it out there as a job opening, but it could have been if he just worded it a little differently.
Yeah,
like, I would love to see everybody apply, and I would especially love to see, or just like not especially, but like I'd love to see people that that are marginalized or minorities apply as well, because it's a very exciting opportunity that should be open to everyone. Something like that, that would have been okay.
Yeah,
people wouldn't have got mad. But when you're being exclusionary, to be inclusionary, that's the problem.
Funny how people try to be anti-racist and they wind up being racist by trying so hard to be anti-racist.
I know, but in their mind, they're everybody else is racist and they're not.
God, so what's gonna happen with all this though is
more drama and bullshit that no one wants to deal with.
Yeah,
and it's just gonna turn more people off from Star Wars in general.
Yeah, people were just checking out. They came back into Star Wars because of The Mandalorian, because of Luke Skywalker, and if this shit blows up.
They were doing so well.
You were doing so good, Lucasfilm, but now you're gonna screw it all up.
This is gonna turn so many people off, and you won all this back, and then you threw it away. And if it is true, there's two factions fighting. One side won the fans back, and the other side did exactly what they keep doing, and they pushed a whole bunch away. And it's like, and it doesn't matter. It's not that only white people are mad. That's not true. A lot of people are mad because they're tired of this baiting, this double standard, this bullshit all the time. And a lot of people who aren't white are pissed before because the way John Boyega was treated, the way they stepped on over James Earl Jones. You're just basically, I guess they're doing one thing right. They're finding a way to offend everyone.
That is true. And look, Disney, because we know you listen, right? We know.
Oh, I know they do. We know. We have people in there that tell us.
Disney, you need to focus on saving the Star Wars brand. And that means you need to lay down some rules, some ground rules about social media. And you need to make it very clear that while people are allowed to have their own opinions, they're out there being brand ambassadors for Star Wars. Right now, everybody needs to get on the same page and save Star Wars. Mm-hmm. You're going to have a repeat of The Last Jedi. I believe with the High Republic, you're already headed for it, but it could be worse. It could be like, you know what? I gave Star Wars another chance with The Mandalorian, with Luke Skywalker, and oh my God, Lucasfilm.
And now I'm out on everything.
And now I'm out. I'm just done.
I'm not even going to watch The Mandalorian anymore. I'm not going to watch it. That's where it's headed. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, this whole situation could have been avoided so many places. The double standards are ridiculous, both with their social media and net channel and what they're going off about how you shouldn't be racist as they behave as racist. All that kind of crap is terrible. The fact that they have this. Both parties, this was Christina, Arielle, and Gina Carano, and people are attacking both of them. And Gina Carano's in trouble because she doesn't vote the right way and didn't put her pronouns in her bio. And Christina is in trouble because she said some things that could be construed as racist, but she also doesn't have her pronouns in her bio.
That's true, but she's the right kind of person.
But she clearly leans the other way. People are just sick of it. They're just sick of politics. They're sick of bullshit. I 100% believe in diversity, but show us, not tell us at every turn.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of it.
I think a lot of people are going to check out, and Disney, you're going to have to do something.
It's so hard, too, because Star Wars has been such a big part of my life.
Star Wars we knew is dead.
It's
done. It's dead. This is zombie Star Wars. And as much as I enjoyed seeing their attempt at bringing Luke Skywalker back, I'm like, it's going
to probably be stopped there because...
Yeah, it's never going to be the same. It's just not.
Yeah. People are going to walk away because they're just tired of watching the fighting. Like, I don't care anymore. Yeah. It's too exhausting.
Well, that's where I'm at with it. Like, I mean, I didn't even watch all of season 2 of The Mandalorian. I checked out the Luke Skywalker scene. I thought it was awesome. If it had not been for the drama around The Last Jedi, I would have been super pumped. Even if the movie had been put out there and people didn't like it, but there hadn't been the drama with people working on the movie.
Well, I'm saying even the Mandalorian, Luke Skywalker's there, everybody's excited, everybody's thrilled, actors are coming out of the woodwork to be like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then you have Pablo, you knew exactly where it was going to go. Immediately, one of the story group, who's also behind the High Republic, has to come in there and make sure you put the kibosh on that, guys. But you're supposed to like love what they do because they say so.
Yeah. This is just, it's bullshit.
Why isn't anybody backing our High Republic? I don't know, because they're tired of your divisionary shit.
Yeah. This is gonna be another watershed moment for Star Wars. It's gonna be very divisive again. And if nothing else, Disney needs to step in. They need to be even-handed and say, look, you work for Lucasfilm. You are a division of Disney. This is what you can and can't.
And the rules have to be applied evenly.
Everybody. Like, this is our social media policy. You can't go rogue and go saying a bunch of shit that's going to make us look bad.
Right. You need to protect your employees, but you also need to protect your fans from your employees.
Yeah. Now, in the case of Christina Arielle, I'm assuming she wasn't working for Lucasfilm at the time.
No, I'm sure she wasn't. So I'm like, that was before. And then that goes back to the old argument where people were digging up tweets from like several years ago before they were doing something and then demanding they be fired off of something.
Yeah.
And people say things, but in this case it was recent. But I'm just saying.
But that doesn't excuse people like Pablo Hidalgo, who's been with Lucas for 20 years and is throwing shade at fans, and then he kind of walked it back. But if I were Disney, I'd be like, we gotta sit down, we gotta have a meeting about this shit, because we cannot have negative Star Wars headlines every fucking week. If I were in charge, I'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, exactly.
Sit your ass down. Kathy over here. Jon Favreau over here. Pablo, get your ass in here. Get me a cup of coffee.
Give me the timeout chair.
Yeah, get me a cup of coffee. Then you go sit in the corner and we're going to have a talk. And we're going to figure this shit out because Star Wars is drowning. And you guys are the ones that are causing the drama.
At this point, we already know what's what. And I think that people need to just be gotten gone at this point because it's not going to stop. They keep not picking a direction, and it's not going to stop until they do. But, one direction's working, one isn't.
Yep, that's all you got to know. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.